Rugged.
Yeah, very rugged.
Very rugged.
Hilly.
A lot of clay.
Huge walls on both sides of you at all times.
Describe it.
Sand, rock, dirt, salt.
It's very flat and it's covered in seagrass.
Color.
Red sandstone.
It's very green.
Very gray and red.
The best earth colors possible.
On a nice sunny day, everything just kind of glows and just the colors come alive.
The light doesn't even have to hit them perfectly for it to look like the cliffs are on fire. They're so red.
You took Dagobah from Star Wars,
Terrain is just simply naked.
except it's going to be a little bit cleaner.
It's like a Midwestern desert.
Pretty much the quietest place you could ever come.
Places that feel like rainforests and everything is covered in moss.
4,000-foot walls on either side of us.
But then you get up higher and there's these jagged peaks.
And the steepness.
We're all dwarfed in these mountains.
It is so romantic.
Huge trees, and that's all you know, and that's all you hear.
The way the clouds sit on the mountains, I absolutely love.
But when you come here, it's huge trees.
Yeah.
Hoodoos, which is kind of what they're famous for, which is these pillars of rock.
Skagit gneiss is the kind of rock.
Geology is fascinating, but actually no,
Yeah, but seriously, yeah.
The earth kind of melting and coming back together.
We're inside a crater of a volcano.
The Joshua tree itself.
Got a lot of Douglas fir trees.
Chunky tree with a bulbous.
Cliffs that are not on this scale anywhere else in the world.
When you stand next to it, you are just like so microscopic compared to that.
That's insane!
Didn't mention the glaciers.
Over 300 glaciers.
Hundreds and hundreds of lakes.
A lot of water.
It's just a big hole in the ground full of water.
How clean the water is, how deep the lake is.
It's much more than that. It's one of the clearest lakes in the world.
The air is really crisp.
Yeah, it's so crisp.
Not sunny, I would call it yesterday, but it had sun yesterday.
It like burns our nostrils because we're from LA, so we're used to inhaling smoke all day.
High heat, wind, and
It's just kind of, it's different, it's unique. It's a little weird feeling too.
Apparently there are also crocodiles down by the river.
Different types of animals that I've never seen before.
Not crocodiles, the American ones. Alligators.
Prairie dogs, and just ridiculous bugs and animals everywhere.
I think it makes me at peace with myself.
I guess a quiet place to ask yourself questions that maybe you need to ask yourself.
Spiritual place for inner reflection as well as recreation.
See in all directions around you.
I just feel like I've become a lot less stressed about life, period.
It's basically just like, yeah, set aside land that like,
Straight up.
they just found the raddest land, and they're like, we're keeping this one because this is the coolest one.
That's true. For sure.
I think that every generation experiences the natural world differently.
Like the 50s and 60s, like this glorified, like Yellowstone, go see the bears.
Maybe during like my parents' generation, the park system was sort of blooming and emerging, whereas now it's a bit more in place.
the last generation was more like, let's take the whole family in the camper van and spend a week in Yellowstone.
My dad always took us camping.
I went a lot of places when I was in a stroller.
I visited Yellowstone.
We went to a lot of national parks, did a lot of camping.
Zion, Bryce.
I don't really remember any of it.
We used to actually go to Joshua Tree.
I went to them all when I was a little kid, but I was like 3 years old. My parents said I cried the whole time. I was like, oh no, I've changed.
I mean, I never grew up in a family or anything like that where we went out and kind of explored that much.
I used to like outdoor, but I didn't have any opportunities to do anything other than bike in the roads.
I've never seen the mountains before. I've never been past Illinois.
The way national parks were developed for visitation is that they were made for automobile driving through.
Older couples in their RVs with their walking sticks.
Living the life.
Yeah, no judgment, full respect.
I can't wait to be there.
We've usually been the youngest people.
There's definitely the older crowd that's still here. People who have been dirtbagging it before I was born.
So we do get a lot of youth from places like China, sometimes even France, Germany, that come here, and they usually seem pretty excited.
People in my generation, yeah, they experience national parks a little differently. I think it's more active, for one.
With our generation, it's more like just kind of scattershot. Let's go.
Our generation definitely appreciates beautiful places.
I think our generation is getting out there a lot more.
My family and friends, they thought I was crazy.
My family has really followed me into the outdoors.
People who are starting to actually get out in the backcountry. It seems to me that there's definitely been a push towards being out in the nature more.
I mean, every time we go to Kipahulu and camp, it's full, and majority is young people.
So yeah, I mean, I think my generation definitely comes.
I feel like most of my generation is moving to the city You find like way more value and importance in getting out of the city too, you know? There's not like this middle ground.
Wanted to get away from the busy LA life.
I actually was deep into the freelance photography, trying to have fashion going on with all of it.
I moved to Los Angeles. I was living in Venice Beach. I'm working in fashion.
It just started to ring hollow after a while.
And just hit the brakes. Like, I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to Zion.
I should say that we don't take it for granted.
There's a lot of millennials that are crippled by student debt, and so a lot of the times I think it is difficult for people to leave their jobs.
You can always come back to the city. There's, it's always there waiting for you.
Like, what would John Muir think about right now? What would he think about the paved roads and all the people out here seeing it and appreciating it? And I honestly think that he would be excited that so many people get so excited about nature.
I'm so happy that this is the generation that I get to be a part of. I think that my kids are going to be like, man, Mom, you guys just took off in your vans, you all quit your jobs.